Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Maya 2015 HIK rig that we're working on here. We've been working on it for a character remodel, and earlier on we retopped it 3D scans this group, and we used an HIK rig to build a skeleton. And in our last lesson, we ended with skinning the base mesh here to our HIK skeleton. And now we're going through and weighting our model. So we'll go through, and as we're going through with the capsules, it'll go through and do this symmetrically, so we don't have to do right and left. You'll see the capsules will pop up on both sides and kind of take care of that for us. So let's go ahead and we'll take care of this foot or this leg here. Look through here and see if this looks okay to us. I want to make sure that all the leg is taken care of here. Okay, he's a little bit too high up there. I don't want the influence of this joint affecting up here in the torso. So I'm going to grab the top of this capsule here, and I'll just drag it down, and then you'll see that it brings the influence down. Okay. Okay, that looks okay. Bring this one up just a little bit. I don't want it going too much past the knee. Alright, let's take a look at the bottom leg down here. Okay, you see how this capsule appears getting up into the thigh. I don't really want influence up there either, so I'll bring this capsule size down to where it kind of falls off the knee. That's good. And let's also grab this back side here. Just make sure that it does actually capture the bulk of his shin area. Okay, let's take a look at down here by his foot. It's okay, but get a little bit wider. Okay, that looks okay. Let's take a look at the foot down here. Okay, so this foot's a little janky. We're going to have to kind of work on this a little bit. Let's see if we can rotate it. No, that's not what I'm after. Scale it up. Good, just push this back. Okay, so let's take out these each one of these toes here. That's looking okay. That one's looking okay. That's alright. And that one needs a little more. Let's go ahead and scale that up. Okay. So now let's go ahead and actually test the leg, make sure that what we're doing actually looks good. So I'm going to go to frame 1. I'm just going to add some simple animation. Mainly I can only use rotation. If I start translating, it's going to move the joints out of position. I don't want that. So on frame 1, I'll just hit S for this joint. Frame 20, I'll just rotate it up. Frame 60, I'll rotate it back. And then 45, I'll have him back at the start. And I now also want his shin to bend. So let's say it's down here. Let's start bending, see if we get any kind of collapse. Okay. Okay. Let's check out the foot here. Let's do front flex. See how that looks. Yeah, frame 20. We'll have them go back the other way. Okay. Overall, I'm kind of happy with how this looks right now. I don't really think that needs any kind of alteration. See if there's any twisting up top. Not too much. I think that's okay. I'm going to leave all that alone. Okay, so now I got to remove those keyframes because I don't want them. I just wanted to use them to test my animation, make sure that it looked good. Okay, I'll delete that. Alright. Okay, so the legs are done. Happy with the legs, ready to move on. Okay, so let's take a look at the arms here. So let's add in a keyframe here on frame 1, S, and let's go ahead and rotate the arms down. Okay, so I can see right away they got a problem there. And let's also do some work on his forearm. So go frame 1, leave it as is. Let's get us down here, hit S, and then I want to see his forearm come up. Alright. Okay, so we got a couple different problems we're going to have to work on. Let's go ahead and take care of the first one first, which is the arm here. We'll activate our capsule over here. If you lost this tool here because you activated something else, if you go back to your interactive skin tool, so go to skin interactive bind, it'll bring these capsules back up. Okay, so if you look at these capsules, you can see that there's some fall off in here and in here, and that's the reason why this arm here is buckling. So I need to add some influence with this here. So I'm going to make this a little wider. I'll move it down just a little bit. It's trying to rotate on me. I don't want that to happen. Okay, let's go up to just about the elbow there. Just going a little bit over here. Good. Alright, so let's test it out now. No, we're still at that buckling. I don't like that. Now we got some of the stuff going up in here too, so. Try moving the other way and see if that helps. Not wanting to let me go into my translate tool, that's kind of bothersome. We're getting there. Still not quite what I'm after. Alright, well, there's some problems with this guy here. I'm going to have to come back to it. Let's go ahead and jump into the forearm and then see if that fixing some of this will help fix the other one. Sometimes that happens, so I'm going to adjust the influence over here. Okay. Okay, so I'm happy with the forearm now. That looks a lot better. Let's take a look, see if maybe it's the clavicle that's causing the issues here. So yeah, it looks like that was probably it. You see the clavicle here. Its influence is coming down to the forearm here. So let's go ahead and just back that up. There we go. That's a lot better. That was what the issue was. Okay. All right, and it looks like we got a jumper. If you see like this ever happen to you guys, and you see this like this face or vertex that's jumping down to the center here, what it's jumping down to is a character reference, this little node down here. So all you gotta do is just adjust your capsule to where it now encompasses is what's going on is this piece of geometry where something slipped between the cracks between these capsules, and this geometry has zero influence on something. So we just gotta move this guy around till it gives some influence to that piece of geometry to snap back, and then it goes back to where it needs to be. So now we're good. We're ready to start moving forward again. Let's take a look at the hand real quick here. Hand looks all well. That part's okay. Let's see about over here. That's okay, but let's give some more influence to this area, and we'll pull this back so that way his whole hand area is taken care of. And let's give some more influence underneath it as well. Okay, let's check each one of the fingers. That looks okay. That one probably needs to be a little bit bigger. Let's just bring it up there. Okay. I like this interactive bind just because there's all these little capsules that kind of stop the fall off from reaching the fingers around it and doing strange things that just seems like it shouldn't happen, but it does when you do like a smooth bind. Okay, so the thumb needs a little bit of help here. Let's bring this guy up over here. Good. Same here. Okay. That's good. Alright, so now we gotta take care of the head and neck area. So here's our neck. Let's just take a look at each one of these guys down here. That looks okay. That's alright. I don't want this influencing these hips though, so let's bring this up just a little bit. Okay. I do want this kind of influence in the back though, so kind of bring that out a little bit. Let's check the back over here. Size on this guy, and there we go. We're in better shape than that guy, I think. Okay, so we're into our first neck joint, and we want all of this to be really located around down here. Now this head joint is supposed to have maximum influence, so we definitely want this little ball at the very end here. That's the head joint. We call it the end effector sometimes, but we want it to be all red on the top here. And if we can, yeah, down here as well. Okay, that's okay. See the face down here. I don't want any influence from that bottom chin at all. Alright, come on, Capsule. You're being stubborn again. I don't like that. I may have to make the bottom bigger. Let us move the bottom down. There we go. All these other options here. I'm just trying to get that arrow. There we go. Okay, so now this neck area, or this bone right in the jaw area, actually affects mostly just the neck. Okay. And then the top bone affects everything else. That's good. Alright, so let's go ahead and test that out. Let's go ahead and activate this guy. Let's see. That looks fairly reasonable. Okay. So that about does it. I think that the weighting's perfect. That we're just going to leave it as is. So we guys got a couple things to do, and then we'll be done with weighting our model. And that is probably about the fastest character rig and weight you will ever see, because if you were to ever go ahead, sorry, got a little tongue twisted there. If you're ever going to build your own character rig and do your own weighting, it'll probably take you a couple to between 2 and probably, well, 2 to 6 hours to do just the most basic character rig, and could take you an undetermined amount of time to do a very, very advanced character rig with facial rigging and all kinds of fun shapes and set-driven keys and all that. That can take a lot of time. So we worked on this one for less than 40 minutes, and we already have ourselves a character rig with it weighted and ready for motion capture. So that's pretty awesome. There's just 2 things we gotta do, and we're pretty much done with our rig here, and it'll be ready for motion capture. We just have to select our skeleton here, and then there's this little lock area. All that's going to do is just going to lock down all these joint options here for scale and the bone counts and all that. If you weren't to have it locked, you can add in joints as you're adjusting, like we were doing, and the bones were jumping all over the place because we didn't have it locked yet. So now that's locked, I'm going to go ahead and lock it down. All these options kind of go away for us, and then we just have to build or create the character rig for it. So first I'm going to save, because you always should be saving incrementally. So I'll just go to File, Save As, Continue, and I already had mine saved as a file down here, so you can see that. The scene I'm working on is just rewritten on here. If I didn't already have a scene file set up, you just go to File, Save Scene As, and then mine's called Group Video. That's the one, since I'm recording, that's what I called it. If you wanted to call it whatever you want, Group 01, that's what I've been calling the other ones. Okay, so I'm going to cancel that because I already saved it. Next thing, we're going to create our control rig. So very, very simple. So all we're going to do is go to our little arrow where we create our skeleton at, and you'll see that it will create submenu. And instead of going to skeleton, we're going to go to control rig. So we'll select that one. I think I might have slipped off before I pushed the button. So there we go. And now we have an actual control rig in here. If you look at this area over here, these are, I don't know, they give us this little humanoid type character, and you can go through and select the controls through this. I think that selecting the viewport is much more intuitive, but if you want to, you can go through and select the wrist, and you can rotate them or translate them. And the cool thing about this HIK system is that if you're going to build your own control rig, you're going to have to build, decide if you're working with FK controls or IK controls. FK being forward kinematics and IK being inverse kinematics. And forward kinematics is anytime you're doing just rotations and whatnot, just Oilers and whatnot, they just come straight out of the joints. Inverse kinematics is where you have these little IK controllers, and it allows you to just grab this control here and translate it, rather than going up here and grabbing this this control curve up here and rotating our arm. We can just go down here, grab this one here, and translate, and we'll get that's a IK controller. Using this as a rotator, that's called FK, forward kinematics. So this control rig has both things going on at the same time, has FK and IK, and they're working together at the same time. So to get that kind of control is really hard to do when you're doing a custom control rig, at first anyways. Once you kind of get a really good understanding of how to create FK and IK controls and switches, it's not too bad. But the fact that this is all created for you with just a button click is pretty awesome. So if you go through and test out some of these other controls, you can go through and make sure your model's weighted correctly and everything looks good. So that's all good. You can go through and test the flexor on your foot. You can even go and wiggle your toes. Grab those guys, go up and down. Same thing. You can make your model bend over. Got himself a little chest control. Anyways, so lots of controls here. Most of this we're not going to have to mess with for right now. Our next step is we're going to be bringing this into IPI, our motion capture software, and we're going to be dealing with retargeting our model from Maya to our motion capture system. So this draws an end to our HIK overview, Introduction to Maya 2015. I hope this is helpful. If you guys are in my class, we will move on to our next lesson, which is bringing our group character into our IPI motion capture software, and we're going to go ahead and get him targeted in there and process some motion capture and just kind of run through the whole gamut of that. So thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next lesson with IPI doing some motion capture, but until then, be well.